Hello everyone! Today I've been trying to get some work done on my third recreations project, which has been a long time coming, and I decided to go non-dress. We have gone away from the dress theme because I felt like I'd kind of done that one and had got slightly tired of doing bodices and skirts and sewing them together. So I have instead done suit. And I have decided to make, on the recommendation of someone wonderful whom I can't remember, but it was one of many people who spoke to me at the dressmakers ball and said, oh, you should totally do this thing. I was asking around for iconic ideas, and I've decided to do the plaid yellow suit that Cher wears in one of the opening scenes in Clueless, 90s film of ignominy. Ignominy? I have no idea. Famous. Notoriety? Notorious, let's go with that. And if you grew up in the 90s like I did, then one of the films you sort of spent your childhood with. So I was very excited when someone suggested that. It was perfect. It's like, it's not a dress and it's super fun. Hurrah. So this is the outcome of day one's efforts on that particular score. So I have been drafting a lot, and I have come up with this so far, which is obviously the body of the jacket. So this is the front, complete with facing, and the back. I won't try and turn it around because it'll probably fall over. And I'm actually quite pleased with it, alarmingly. I thought it was going to be a disaster about halfway through, not going to lie. The jacket is sort of a tailored style blazer style thing. There's a couple of things about it that are a little less common, or at least I wanted to pay attention to and make sure that I was really picking up. One of which is that the actual break point for the collar and lapel happens sort of just above the high figure point, so it's not a kind of low fronted jacket. It's actually got quite a high, quite high finish. The shape of the collar, this one's too round at the moment. I need to square off the actual collar angle at the notch. So what else is there to say? The jacket's got 4 buttons on it, and otherwise that's sort of it. It finishes at about the high hip, so this is going to get cut to be this sort of length because it's currently a bit too long. But otherwise, it's actually pretty good. I now need to go back and redraft this again with the changes that I need to make, because there are a few based on this first one, and then I need to draft the sleeves, my nemesis, and try and get those right. But there's no point doing that until I've got the bodice right, because you draft the sleeve to the armhole, and the armhole is obviously part of the bodice. So yeah, that'll be the next thing. So hopefully the next bit will also go well. But usually there is a sort of this sort of shape process with these recreations projects, and I'm currently up here, so the next bit's downhill, according to my experience. So who knows what's going to happen next. And then I'm going to do the skirt once I've got the jacket kind of sorted. I'm still hunting for fabric. It is impossible to find a fabric that is the same. Someone very nice on Spotify has on Spoonflower has actually done the exact Cher design, but to buy the amount of fabric I'd need would be horrendously expensive, so that's not going to happen. And the lovely Minerva Crafts have given me the toile fabric, because I need so much of it when I'm doing these projects, and have offered to give me a yellow tartan in their collection, which is so lovely and generous. It's great, but it's not quite the right tartan. It's not a tartan really, it is a plaid, and it's quite a broad spaced plaid. So I've started to draw it on here just to get a sense of the scale. And actually you can see that the checks are quite far apart. There's quite a lot of open space in the pattern, and you just can't find that sort of thing. Yeah, but that's day one. So yeah, I will check in again at the end of day 2 and let you know what I've done.
Hello everyone. So today I was working on the second toile, trying to fix some of the issues that I found the other day when I was doing the first version, and this is it. You can see it now has a sleeve. Hurrah! And actually this is looking really good. It fits really nicely. It probably needs a fraction more around the waist, so I'm just going to let these seams out very, very slightly just so it'll do up. Although in most of the bit of the film she's wearing it open, so I will wear it open in the photograph, so it's less of an issue that it doesn't close exactly for me. I fixed the collar so you can see that that's now got a proper notch in it, and the notch is a lot better. This is also, the angle here is much better than it was. It fits really nicely. Let me just show you the sleeve. The sleeve I was really pleased with, because sleeves are a complete nemesis of mine. I hate drafting them and easing them in, but I'm clearly getting better. As first time round, this worked very well. So this is the sleeve in on, I've only done one side obviously, and these lines that hopefully you can just about make out on here, there's one here, here and here, and a vertical line here, are all to help assess whether it's actually hanging straight when I wear it. Your arm obviously it doesn't hang like dead straight against your body, there's always a slight forward angle, so particularly when you're drafting things for a tailored garment like this where there's not any give in the fabric, you need to make sure that you've got that hanging so that when it's on your arm it's actually all of the fabric's hanging straight and the length grain is going straight down and the crosswise grain is going straight across. So these lines to do that, and it does when it's on hang completely straight, which is good. If I twiddle her round, the back is looking really good actually. Sorry, it's a bit creased, it's been slightly bundled up in a corner during the day as I was working on something else. But the collar's great. One of the important things with collars is that the back line where the fall of the collar, which is the bit that turns over, covers the back seam so that you don't end up with this kind of creeping up and being able to see your back seam at the top where the collar joins, and that's got a good lot of gap there, which is really great. And you can see that this is it's all in one collar, which will roll down, and the roll lines around here on this, so I can just fold it down. That hangs really nicely. Yeah, so actually I'm really pleased with the jacket. It's looking really good, and the only things I haven't yet tried to do are, in the original there are welt pockets at the hip level on both sides and then on the top left side. I can't quite decide whether I'm going to put those on or not. I'd like to for authenticity reasons, but I think what I'll do is use fake welts. So you can just use the top part of that you see in the welt pocket without the pocket bag behind it, so you don't have to cut into the fabric or anything, and I think that's probably better because I'm not going to use pockets like that on this jacket, so I'll just do it I think probably for the look rather than anything else. So I'll have a little practice of that before I actually do it, but yeah, really pleased. It's looking great. So the next thing I need to do is work on the skirt. So today has been skirt day. Having had the jacket and been quite pleased with that, I've then moved on to try and draft the skirt. Now the skirt you originally think is a kilt because it has that look about it. It's obviously got the tartan and the pleats, but actually looking at it in some detail is a little bit simpler than that, and I've drafted it like this. So the skirt is actually, it's in two pieces pretty much. Ignore the fact that this isn't fitting brilliantly on the mannequin. My stomach is larger than this tiny circumference. So it's got a yoke, and in the original you can see that this is cut on the bias because all of the checks go in the diagonal, and then the bottom half is pleated, but it's actually got one long wraparound front panel here, and then I just put in 2 extra pleats at this point, which is pretty much what happens in the original. The only thing I think I need to do is put a little bit more flare in the side seams. So at the moment this is a bit too straight up and down. It needs either a little tiny kit pleat. It looks like there could be a little pleat in the bottom on the original. It's quite hard to see in the film, but that just needs to go in there so that it's got a bit more kick out at this point, and will move a bit obviously when it's worn. But otherwise I think that's okay. So I can't decide whether to, I might just try to adjust this toile rather than drafting the whole thing again and see how I get on, and just put some extra fabric into the pieces at the sides and see what that looks like. But it's getting there and I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it's going to look quite similar to the original when it's actually worn, particularly when it's in the proper fabric, which is good. Oh, hello, got little stringy bits everywhere. Yeah, so there she is. Let me unpin this so you can see the full effect. I have to say, having gone through the process of making toiles in other fabric that's not calico, because the fabric wouldn't have been suitable. You couldn't have made a Marilyn toile in calico, that would have been ridiculous. I'm standing there like this. This is so great to work with. Minerva Crafts provided me with a whole massive roll of about 20 metres so that I could work on these particular projects that I draft myself, which is amazing and has been incredibly helpful. So this just is a joy because it behaves itself properly, and there's something really pleasing about a very simple cream version of an outfit with none of the faff going on that you get from a print. I'm just going to pull her down slightly so you can get a bit more, you won't be able to see all of it, get a bit more of the full effect. But yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite pleasing just seeing the very simple shapes. I rather like it. Sadly it creases like anything, so I couldn't wear it out, but you know, that's how we're getting on. So the next phase is to make a little adjustment to the skirt to try to get that flare working better. And then to source the fabric. The lovely people at Fashion Formula UK, who are a bespoke fabric printing company, got in touch via Tree at Stitches TV, thanks Tree, legend, to say, well, we could actually print you something that's much closer to the original if you'd be happy to kind of mention it in your vlogs, which obviously I am, because that's incredible. So they are in the process of just finalising the design for that fabric. I've seen the proofs, they've sent me some samples, so it should just be a matter of printing it up. And as soon as I actually have that, I will start to make this up in the proper version. My toile does have facings, which I've actually stitched them down. If you can see, I know it's a bit difficult white on white, there's a cream line here. I can't decide whether I'm going to line it and do it fully, because ultimately this is more of a costume piece than it is something I'm going to wear on a regular basis. But if I decide I really like the fabric, and I do wear yellow quite a lot, I may decide to make up the jacket properly and then actually wear it if it's not too loud. Very rarely do I think things are too loud, so let's assume that's not going to happen. And actually, the skirt, hello, yellow kilt. Yes, I'm going to wear that all the time with tights and like a black jumper. That'll look amazing. So I'm hoping I might actually be able to wear this, whereas with previous versions, swanning around in a Marilyn dress is less commonplace. Harder to wear to work, I think. And yes, I would wear a tartan suit to work. It's the lovely thing about doing freelance, you can wear whatever the hell you like. Well, within reason. Yeah, so that's how we're up to. So when I get the fabric in, I will be back with you and I'll give you an update on how that's going. But yeah, in